Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Quick look here again at Solana. We have this, if you saw my video from a few hours ago, we talked about the rising wedge and the triple top. Almost performed a quadruple top and the price is pulling back now. So the truth is here that, this playout chart, it essentially worked out fairly well. Now it's not only breaking down because of that. It's breaking down a little harder than it should because Bitcoin's pulling back. That's the most of it. But it was also kind of struggling too. So we'll discuss that and a few other things, kind of just help understand, best practice for situations like this. We're going to redraw our fib levels here as well. We can still analyze later the bigger picture stuff, but generally speaking, we're going to take a look at the more recent timeframes here and kind of just pay attention to, some potential fib levels here and see where the price action could go. Because when the price is starting to run like this and Bitcoin is pulling back, we need to recognize key Fibonacci retracement levels and, of course, some liquidation levels too. So again, let's quickly take a look at this here, and we'll just discuss something else to that. So quickly to note, $160, I've talked about this a few times, that has been an area of liquidation that's been highly contested but hasn't breached yet. Okay, now that we're down here at about 152, we could see a sweep as low as 150. That's where the most amount of liquidity is here, just kind of letting us know that we could see a bit of a pullback even further before the price recovers. Okay, it may not recover right away too, by the way, folks. Just because it looks probable doesn't mean it is, so just keep that in mind. Before we go though, this isn't all doom and gloom. Keep in mind, folks, again, we are doing some pretty good things here. Nice short from Runecoin yesterday. Took about 15% profit today. I did adjust the stop loss, adjust the stop loss lower, but more importantly, we adjusted our targets to ensure we secure profits in this current market. Caspa, 20% trade to the upside, and of course, Bitcoin, 28% to the upside as well there. So some nice longs and a couple of shorts here so far, or only one short, considering a second actually, but we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about Solana here. Daily time frame, work our way down. Standard stuff here, again, we're not going to focus too much on big picture stuff, even though it's mostly just a recap, I guess. I'm not saying it's not important, but when you have a pullback like this, we're really just focused on where's the next levels of the points of contention. Okay, so to clarify, bigger picture here, Solana in the last, this is since about February, we can see a lot of support here at 130, upwards of about 148. Okay, so we have a decent amount of support at 148 here based on volume, previous point of control, but for the most part 130. So I think worst case scenario is 130. Don't think we're going to come down that low, but just generally speaking, that is kind of an area to note. We are stuck here under 50 in the RSI. Even though money flow index is increasing, RSI is pulling back, generally letting us know this is unfavorable, and the MACD is it's still converging technically, but it doesn't mean that we are just going to take off from here. But that does imply that's a positive sign. So the big picture here really is that we are seeing some conflicting information on the daily time frame. And when you see conflicting information on most time frames, you generally want to steer clear of it. I know you love this coin, I know that's why you're watching it, but generally speaking, it's best practice to be patient. I don't know if you've heard that, but it's funny. I was just talking to my old lady about this here, my fiance, about what is it? There's an old Latin word. It's paterno. Basically, it implies suffering, right? So patience is suffering, and it's important to be patient in trading. So I know it can be very difficult when you're trying to wait for a good entry, a good consideration, especially if it continues to run and you miss your opportunity. Who cares? Move on to the next. Get used to it, folks. It's not a big deal. Okay. So again, just some friendly advice. Take it from me. I've been avoiding FOMO for 20 plus years, if that gives you an indication. Anyways, to try to pass the non-FOMO on to you. Okay, so for our time frame, easy way to note it here is that we're still over 50 on the RSI. That's not a bearish sign. Stochastic's all sorts of messed up here, and money flow index is right there with it. And if we take a look at the MACD, we're diverging. So these are all generally unfavorable signs, not something you want to trade into. Okay, so again, the 4-hour time frame not looking great. And that's kind of where we're at. Let's quickly touch on some key levels if the price does end up pulling back. So just to clarify, we do see some continuation. I would say this 0.382, that level of 148 we've talked about previously, was a significant support and resistance level based on a lot of different areas. I would say 148 is probably the next target. If the price does pull back, I'd feel comfortable getting in around 148. Okay, so again, you don't just blindly jump in. You want to reevaluate, but we got our simple moving average averaging itself out higher. 0.382 fib level. There's a lot of reasons why 148 would be a good consideration for a long if the price pulls back to that level. Ichimoku Cloud, we should be able to confirm here that we are within the cloud. I was expecting it to be below. That's actually pretty decent. Not saying this is a good sign. You don't just buy the dip here arbitrarily, but we are testing a lower lead. If we hold this level, we could see the price recover. Okay, So we're not in like dire straits. We haven't broken bearish. We haven't done any of that stuff yet. Solana's actually looking pretty decent in the overall sense. But I would say that it's best to expect the price to pull back a little bit further. And if it does, 148 to 150 would be a consideration for me. Again, it's going to take some time to get there. I'm just going to go ahead and set an alert, see if I can reevaluate if the price pulls back to that level. It probably won't. It'll probably recover. And again, if you look at the more recent time frame here, a lot of folks are averaging into that 154. Okay, that 154 range is a pretty solid consideration for a lot of people. So, what are your thoughts? I'm curious what you're going to do with Solana. Are you long? Are you short? Where are you at? Or are you just averaging at the upper 200s and hoping that you you get a good breath of fresh air? The price continues higher. Either way, you shouldn't have a trade open at that point. But whatever. Who am I to talk? I do add to my spot bag whenever possible. I mainly like to buy dips on Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. All right, folks, thanks again so much for watching. I hope you learned something here today. Comment below, like, subscribe, follow, and I greatly appreciate you watching. Once again, to those who've been watching for a while, super appreciate your support. You're awesome. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.